After its first official episode back on August 26, 1999, SmackDown would, by proxy, become the official go-home show before WrestleMania. Forever destined to come after Monday Night Raw on the weekly TV schedule, SmackDown has provided the final moments of build from WrestleMania 2000 onwards, and has delivered some iconic closing moments in the 20 years that have followed. Fortunately, unlike Monday Night Raw, SmackDown has had the luxury of learning from 7 years of trial and error over on the Red brand, so they are more than equipped to deliver those final closing go-home moments before WrestleMania the following Sunday. But don't just take my word for it, why not have a look at this lovely gallery we have for you, compiled by yours truly. You are most definitely welcome. With that said, I'm Adam Nicholas, and these are every WWE SmackDown go-home WrestleMania shot ever. Number 20, WrestleMania 2000, SmackDown 32. As the first ever SmackDown came to a close, WWE foreshadowed the inevitable outcome of the McMahon in every corner match, as Triple H stood tall to end the night while his three opponents looked on. With Stephanie McMahon having just won the Women's Championship from Jacqueline moments earlier, the billion-dollar princess and the game stood side by side with their titles raised high. Number 19, WrestleMania 17, SmackDown 84. Now, there are many ways to hype a WrestleMania match, but are there actually any better than The Rock and Austin's incredible My Way promo from 2001? The answer, of course, is no. Well, that's exactly what SmackDown 84 used to close out the show, before cutting back to an irate Rattlesnake who would tell Kevin Kelly, an absolutely terrified Kevin Kelly I should point out, Stone Cold Steve Austin needs to be the World Wrestling Federation champion. Number 18, WrestleMania 18, SmackDown 134. With Chris Jericho set to defend his undisputed championship against Triple H at WrestleMania 18, SmackDown decided to shine a spotlight on the duo's feud to close out the show. Y2J and his new partner in crime, Stephanie McMahon, of all people, one-upped Triple H, leaving him lying on the commentary desk after Jericho had delivered the Walls of Jericho, highlighting the injury to Triple H's leg that he'd just suffered a little while ago. Y2J lofted both titles high above his head for what would be the final time. Number 17, WrestleMania 19, SmackDown 188. Despite Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar set to clash for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 19, Brock Lesnar would find himself brawling backstage with John Cena as the 188th episode of SmackDown came to a close. Intended to set up a post-WrestleMania feud between John Cena and Brock Lesnar, this moment also foreshadowed a Kurt Angle victory at WrestleMania, as the Olympic gold medalist got involved in the brawl and leveled Brock Lesnar with a 2x4. Bet that didn't tickle. Number 16, WrestleMania 20, SmackDown 238. Now, it says a lot about the drawing power of Stone Cold Steve Austin when the go-home shot before WrestleMania 20 was the Rattlesnake downing a couple of beers. He'd been retired for almost a year, but his inclusion as the special guest referee in the match between Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg at WrestleMania 20 was a good enough excuse to have the Bionic Redneck drink SmackDown off the air. Number 15, WrestleMania 21, SmackDown 293. When John Cena decided to vandalize his WrestleMania 21 opponent's limousine, of all things, John Bradshaw Layfield made sure he paid the price, as Cena was manhandled and arrested by police officers, with the Doctor of Thugonomics ending the night in handcuffs. JBL was SmackDown's longest reigning WWE champion for a reason in 2005, and he would do absolutely anything to make sure it stayed that way. Number 14, WrestleMania 22, SmackDown 345. As a WrestleMania 22 triple threat title defense against Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio awaited, all eyes were on Kurt Angle as the 345th episode of SmackDown came to a close. Of his impending retirement in 2019, Kurt Angle said, "If I can't perform at 2006 level, I don't want to perform at all." Watch the closing segment and main event of this show and you'll know exactly why. Number 13, WrestleMania 23, SmackDown 397. While The Undertaker's streak had reached an impressive 14-0, the actual concept of the streak had only really been around since Randy Orton challenged it back in 2005. Orton's former Evolution brethren and then World Heavyweight Champion Batista would be the one to try and end the streak in 2007, but as the dead man delivered his cutthroat trademark to end SmackDown, there was a familiar air of inevitability. Number 12, WrestleMania 24, SmackDown 449. After winning the 2008 Elimination Chamber, it was time for the dead man to come around once again, as he'd earned the right to face the Rated R Superstar for his World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 24. Now, in hindsight, having a mock funeral for the Undertaker's streak might not have been Edge's best idea before WrestleMania, especially when this was the closing image of SmackDown. Remember when I was talking about that air of inevitability? Number 11, WrestleMania 25, SmackDown 502. On a SmackDown comprised mostly of video packages and replays, Jeff Hardy would defeat Ezekiel Jackson in the main event of the show to build some momentum before his WrestleMania 25 showdown with Brother Matt. Now, while the Hardys match was one of the most personal on that year's WrestleMania card, there were certainly bigger and more important matches that could have probably made for a better go-home shot. Number 10, WrestleMania 26, SmackDown 553. Okay, let's not dwell on this one too long at all, because of all the go-home shots on this list, this one has got to be the least inspiring of all. As SmackDown continued to be a glorified Raw recap, the sight of John Morrison and R-Truth pointing, or even thinking about pointing at the WrestleMania sign, is a genuine source of pain. Number 9, WrestleMania 27, SmackDown 606. Focusing on another Raw replay to end this episode of SmackDown, this go-home shot illustrates WrestleMania 27's main event most accurately. Despite The Miz being the WWE champion, the A-lister was somewhat of an afterthought in all of this, as the real story being told here was the one between John Cena and WrestleMania 27's host, The Rock. Number 8, WrestleMania 28, SmackDown 658. Once again, closing with a Raw recap, The Rock and John Cena's final showdown before their huge WrestleMania 28 match took centre stage on SmackDown 658. Now, whether you wanted this match or not, there's no denying that John Cena and The Rock are a license to print money for WWE, so having the pair of them close out both Raw and SmackDown in 2012, well, it made perfect sense. Number 7, WrestleMania 29, SmackDown 711. Now, on the one hand, you had the edgy, triggering image of CM Punk pouring Paul Bearer's ashes all over The Undertaker to close out Monday Night Raw. Very exciting, very controversial stuff. On the other hand, you had Jack Swagger and Kofi Kingston having a singles match in the main event that Swagger would win before the night would close with he and Zeb Colter doing their We the People pose. You tell me. Number 6, WrestleMania 30, SmackDown 763. Now, whatever your personal thoughts and opinions may be on Hulk Hogan, and I'm sure we've all got quite a few of those, in a WWE arena, the man has got a near mythical presence. As the host of WrestleMania 30, Hulk Hogan came down to the ring to deliver one last mania-hyping moment on this episode of SmackDown, as he revealed the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy. And let's not forget, he also reminded everyone about his own WrestleMania Greatest Hits for the best part of the promo. Because of course he did, brother. Number 5, WrestleMania 31, SmackDown 814. After an 8-man tag team match in which John Cena, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan and Mark Henry defeated Seth Rollins, The Big Show Kane and Bray Wyatt, SmackDown would close with the faces standing victorious. Now, if Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns having a tug of war to close out Monday Night Raw was bad, then this jumbled mess of superstars, 80% of whom aren't even looking at the bloody hard cam, wasn't much better. Number 4, WrestleMania 32, SmackDown 867. As Dean Ambrose prepared for his WrestleMania 32 no-holds-barred street fight against Brock Lesnar, the Lunatic Fringe went up against Wyatt family member Eric Rowan on the go-home episode of SmackDown. Now, while there was a lot of potential for Ambrose versus Lesnar at WrestleMania 32, the end product didn't really deliver, to be quite perfectly honest, and with Dean on the verge of exiting the company in 2019, this image, well, it kind of feels like a bit of a bittersweet summation of his time in WWE. Number 3, WrestleMania 33, SmackDown 919. Now, contrary to popular belief, this is actually the right image. There's not a mistake happened there. That was the final shot of SmackDown on March 28, 2017, as Randy Orton cut a promo on Bray Wyatt before their WrestleMania 33 matchup for the WWE Championship. And yet, when you consider how laughably ridiculous the maggots were that Bray Wyatt managed to summon on the actual canvas in the ring at Orlando for WrestleMania 33, how on earth that's a sentence I do not even know, but when you consider that, this is actually quite on brand. Number 2, WrestleMania 34, SmackDown 972. In 2018, WWE decided to give fans the dream match that they all wanted. WWE Champion AJ Styles versus Royal Rumble winner Shinsuke Nakamura, and we all salivated at the prospect, didn't we? When this image closed out SmackDown 972, expectations were high, possibilities were endless, and you could almost hear, if you listened really, really carefully, the chance of fight forever. But then when it actually happened, the reality was pretty stark. The disappointment was endless, and fight forever, well, that became a painful reality, didn't it? And number 1, WrestleMania 35, SmackDown 1024. And that brings us finally to last night's SmackDown Live. Now, before we go any further, I just want to remind you of a shot from the other video we did of every go-home Raw before WrestleMania, the shot from them. And yes, the video where the transitions weren't in the video and everybody got confused because the text that was supposed to be under the TV got left off by the editor, who happened to be me. All right, just shut up, forget about it, you know the video I'm talking about. Well, in that video, there's a shot of Daniel Bryan closing out Raw before WrestleMania 30, where he's chanting yes defiantly in the face of the Authority, as the WWE Universe have willed him into the biggest match of his career. And that's one of my personal favourites from that list because of what that image represents. Then fast forward to this image from last night's SmackDown, and with Kofi Kingston preparing for the biggest match in his career, his first ever singles match for the WWE Championship against Daniel Bryan, no less. We can only hope that in 5 years' time, this image feels just as important as that one of Daniel Bryan.